Hi, and welcome to Marketing Adventures with Carmel. If you're watching this on social media, make sure that you give us a thumbs up, a like, and comment below if you would like answers to any of the questions that we go through. If you're on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the little bell so that you can be alerted when this gold is uploaded. This is where we interview some inspiring and real business builders and exceptional entrepreneurs who have at times overcome some hurdles to build their business success. So we're getting down and dirty into the real stuff. These guests have gold to share with us because they've been through the journey. Like, why reinvent the wheel, right? So you learn from others so that you can overcome some of the obstacles that may be in your way at the moment. So during these interviews, we do share some tips, tricks, and insights with you all about how to market your business, but how to journey through that, owning your own business to marketing. I'm Carmel, your host, and my guest today is the amazing Anna. And now let me see if I can pronounce this correctly, Anna. Malovrh. Is that correct?
Close enough. It's Malovrh.
Malovrh.
It's yeah. Oh wow, you did it! Wow. Many Germanic languages, people that have mother tongue in Germanic languages, they cannot pronounce it. So, ooh,
Oh,
wow.
okay. Maybe I'm like just like a parrot. So let me introduce you properly. So, Anna, your business is Anna in Style, and you're a world class expert in communication beyond words. So, you're a founder of Choose Your Signature Style. So, it's all about how you look and how you present yourself. But more than just the clothes, it's about that hidden communication, and you're also the creator of Feng Shui Apparel System, which we're going to dig into as we have a chat here. So I know you look for energy deficiencies in your clients. And by pairing that with their life mission and lifestyle together, they create a complete personalized 24/7 signature style, even down to the pajamas. I love that. So, most of your clients are high achieving women, empaths, and as you like to say, mavericks. They like to book the system a bit. I know you're also passionate about rapid, unconventional, and seamless transformations of personal flaws. I love this, personal flaws into powerful assets. So, it's amazing that we quite often can look at the things that aren't right so that we can kind of bring those in and include it and combat that brainless consumerism. I nearly fell over those words. Anna, I do know you also have two amazing kids, but we're going to talk specifically today about how to stand out in a crowded market because that communication wise. But first, tell us a little bit about Anna. Tell us a little bit about the journey to get Anna to here.
It's been quite a long journey. I usually like to tell a story how I turned from a gray mouse into a desirable woman, but I'm not going to do this today because I'm going to explain why I chose to pursue this path now. It is because I wanted to be with my children. I loved my previous career as a translator. I've been good at it, an expert. I established my name. Everything was fine, but it took too much of my time. And the fashion side of my business was a side hustle. And I've been passionate about it. I love translating fashion topics and all that. So I had this amazing opportunity to get certified and to pursue this side of my business now that I'm over 40.
Yeah. Wow. And you have two small kids. So what ages are your children?
One is 2.5, a year and a half, and the other one is 8 months old.
Wow, so small. So a great opportunity. And I know that a lot of people watching this as moms, it can seem like we're just juggling everything. And, to come from a career where you're good, there's nothing wrong with your job at all. Like you're good at it and you've made a name for yourself. And then to actually decide, well, no, I want to stay home. I don't want to do that. How long have you had the side gig for?
About 6 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. So really it's 6 years of slowly, slowly building a business, because even though it was a side gig, it was kind of always taking some action in it. That's what I have found with a lot of people, is it's not overnight, but as long as you're making some
Yes.
progress, when you're ready, people say, oh, an overnight success is like, no, no, no. They've been doing that for years before now. It's like a flower. The flower is just blooming now.
Absolutely. And I've been closely connected to the topic through my translation career. So I've been, how do you say, updated.
Yes, yes, all the time. And I know with us today, so whereabouts are you again?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Where are you based again? I'm just checking what country you're
In,
in.
in Slovenia.
Slovenia. So there is a slight pause, just for anybody watching. There's a slight pause sometimes, but it is just that communication lag. We're talking to each other from either side of the world almost, which is phenomenal in itself. So thank you for sharing about that, and tell us, how important is it now to spend that time with your kids? Like, what is it on an emotional level for you that made you make that decision?
Well, it is important to me to stay with children when they're really young. I like to say that if children were meant to be self sufficient, they would start walking right after they were born. We know that with other animals.
Yeah.
But a small baby is completely dependent on their mom, and that's for a reason, especially from the emotional side. I think we don't emphasize that enough, or we are not aware of that enough, because in early age emotional connection builds confidence when we get older.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. I love that. And it is very important. And if you have the ability to do that, and the opportunity to do that, that's terrific. So today we're going to be talking about how to stand out in a crowded market. Now, I know you have some insights and tips to give us in this, because it's okay whether you have a side gig or whether you have a full career. If you actually don't know how to market yourself, how to get that word out there that your business stands out, or the solution that you have, or what you solve. So, you don't have a business, we have a hobby. So we have to really work on, how do we market ourselves? So tell us from your perspective, how do you help people, and, point them in the right direction of how to stand out in a crowded market?
Well, the first thing, as many experts will tell you, it's to look at within, look what makes you special. And my specialty is to look at things that are usually overseen, or people are trying to hide them. From the visual perspective, we can look at the brand look. And I want to give you an example. For example, Frida Kahlo. She had this brow. Everyone knows her because of these huge
This big, thick
brows.
monobrow, wasn't it? Yeah.
She had eyebrows. Yes. connected. Or some other, I'm sure you can, from the top of your head, you can think of a person that really stands out, that you can only take one of their characteristics and say, oh, that's that person.
Yeah.
Can you remember just from the top of your head one?
Oh, one characteristic of that person. No, because now I'm in Frida Kahlo because you said that. And I was just finding an image to actually share it just quickly. That I was just going to see if I could share it to show anyone that's watching. If you can see it. So that is there is Frida with this. She was well known for having this brow. There was paintings done of her and everything. That was what you meant.
Yes.
Yes. I
This
thought that would be good to just share it.
this is a perfect example, and it really captures your attention. You couldn't think of anyone else.
Mm. Yes, yes, yes. Because I knew who you had said, so my mind went straight to her. Okay. Oops. There we go. We're back. Okay, so that's one way, is it? So explain to me what you mean by, so that's her visual thing. So it does make you stand out, obviously, like that. So just continue describing that.
Yes, this is one of the visuals that is really powerful. And
Mm.
we all have something like that. Something that she could have just crawled in a corner and cry because of her looks, but no, it's a brand.
Yes,
So there are many
she showed it
cases.
off. Yeah.
Yes, and emphasized. But there are other things that can make us stand out as well. For example, our unique voice. We can create something that makes us stand out from what we already own. So, for example, I can create how I speak. I can speak in metaphors. That's my signature style. I give examples in my own unique way. This is what I created through time and experience.
Yeah. Okay. So how we speak, how we explain things, it's that kind of way. Because I know you had said earlier, well, you didn't say it, I kind of said it about you, that you like to find people's deficiencies almost and bring them to the fore and make them something that stands out. Is that what you mean?
Absolutely. I can give you one example, not
Yeah,
just
sure.
from the visual perspective, but for example, if you have a strong accent, think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everyone
Yeah.
knows him. Sylvester Stallone. Everyone can recognize him. They made brands out of their accent.
Yes, yes, so true, so true. And as you say that, I realize at times, because obviously I live in Australia and I still have my Irish accent. And sometimes it's certain things I say, because I say them with an Irish accent, they're accepted a lot more as well. So, yeah, that's part of my brand. That's a really good point. Awesome. And what else?
If you are just an ordinary person or think you are, because no one is, we all have our own fingerprints. Nobody can, copy. You can say you have a different methodology. I'm going to do things differently. And what that different is up to you to find out. No one can tell you that.
So
And
give
there
us
are
an
certain
example of that.
procedures on methodology. For example, I created my Feng Shui Apparel System. It's a new, unique methodology that emerged from my experience in translation industry, my background in hanging out a lot with architects.
Yeah.
My expertise as a personal stylist and visual brand consultant, and all my spiritual background and research I've done over the years. So I created a fusion of all my experience, my past experience, and
Yeah.
created something new.
So I'm guessing the idea behind that is when somebody hears that, they go, "Oh, what's that?" It creates a curiosity because I often give the story of a plumber. If you've ever had a plumber and maybe they haven't done a good job, they've left you waiting too long, and then when they did the job, they didn't clean up, blah blah blah. So when somebody comes along to you and says, "Oh, I'm a plumber," you automatically go back to that memory and you assume that that's how they're going to be. So that, to me, that's what I call the value frame. You are assuming the value they are going to be or not. Whereas when you have something unique or different, people can't put a value frame on it. You get to put the value frame on it. So for somebody, and I had never heard of Feng Shui, what was it? Feng Shui Apparel System. So of course, I can't assume what it is. I can't assume that you are somebody with a big brow or an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice or a whatever, because I don't know. I have no reference point for it. So that unique methodology, as long as it's not too confusing, but intriguing enough for them to go, "Oh, tell me more about that." I think it's a really great way to control your own value frame.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Cool, thanks. So that's three kind of distinct areas you've told us, like the visual appearance. If you have something that maybe other people might find not so good or whatever, is enhance it, use it to your advantage. Same with your voice, whether it's an accent or I know a very dear friend of mine who is a coach, and she has kind of quite a distinctive voice. And she goes, "Well, God obviously gave me this bloody voice for a reason." And she uses it because you don't expect, the voice doesn't always match the image. And then that unique methodology. So, what else is there? So, that's three different things. What else can you tell us?
It can be a different perspective.
Okay.
Usually, people with different perspective are mythbusters.
Right. Okay.
They take something that is taken for granted and do a deep research on it and see if they can look at it from a different angle.
Yeah. Can you give us an example of that one? Because that sounds intriguing in itself.
For example, my dearest example is in fashion magazines, you always hear everyone woman has to own little black dress,
Yes.
or every woman needs to own something black, and then your wardrobe is perfect, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
But that's far from the truth. Because there is no universal color that would support every human being on this planet,
Right.
because we're different, we're unique. We
Yeah.
cannot be put in a cookie cutter molds.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a good. So something that is the uniform, the norm, the I call it a meme. So meme to me, a meme is to a memory what a gene is to genetics. So quite often, our parents believe something, our grandparents believe something, so we just assume it's true. So we just assume that thing or whatever, that's just how it is. But when you can break that mold and try and look at it from that different perspective. And it's kind of like busting a paradigm. It's like busting through it and going, do you know what's a great example of that? As we're saying, it is the weight loss industry. Because many years ago, it was all about, oh, fat is the bad thing. No, 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 you shouldn't have fat. Then it was sugar is the bad thing. But it's actually the same problem, but they're blaming it for somebody else. And then at one stage it became, no, it's none of those. It's actually your thyroid. That's what's wrong. There's something wrong with your thyroid. So it was just a different perspective of the exact same problem and situation. And, bust through, it's not the fat at all. Come over here, I'll help you with this. And that really got people to say, oh, see, it's not my fault. It's not the fat. It's actually my thyroid. I'll just go over here with these people. But it was a good example of seeing things from a different perspective, is all that was.
And it works for this kind of people. It works. People who have thyroid problems will solve their problem that way. And
Yeah.
people who had sugar problems will solve their problem that way.
Yeah.
And everyone's
Well,
happy.
yeah, the truth is that it was like pointing the finger at the bad guy or the problem. But when you brought in something new, like we just said earlier, it was like, oh, what's that? That curiosity was, I haven't heard that before. Could it possibly be? Because people that maybe it was a sugar problem, but they still couldn't make it work, or maybe it was a fat problem and they still couldn't make it work. So they will say, well, it mustn't be me. Oh, here's something else I can blame for it. And they get marketed that way. It's pretty amazing how people make decisions. And the word manipulation, people say, oh, you're manipulating people. It's not. If people are searching for what you have the solution for, surely it's a disservice not to actually put it in front of them, because they're going to get it from someone. And if you know you're doing the right thing and you're looking after them and so on and so forth, then it's a disservice not to allow them to see you, so that you, if they choose to go with you, that you can actually help them. But they've got to know how you can help them. Otherwise, they can't say yes.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, was there any other? So that's four distinct steps you've given us. Was there any other ones?
Yes, there is another one, and we touched
Yeah.
it a little already. It's your unique niche, the
Yes.
kind of people who are drawn to you and your solution.
Yes. And I know I talk a little bit about that to some of my clients. Tell me from your perspective, because this is something that people ask me all the time. They say, yeah, that's all right, but how do I find my niche? How do they find their niche?
Yeah, this is a $1 million question. Go from yourself, from everything starts with you.
Yeah.
Who do you like to hang out with? Who comes to you and asks you for advice? What kind of people? Who listens when you speak? And you
Yeah.
will, if you ask these three questions, you will start to noticing a pattern.
Yeah. That's really, really good advice, Anna, because quite often we go out and go, oh, I'm going to do this. And it's something that we don't want to hang out with those people. We don't want to, and you find yourself then resisting doing that. At least I know I did over the years. But exactly what you said, find out who do you like hanging out with, who listens, who can you help the most. And it quite often is somebody who's a few steps behind you in a similar journey, because you've just stepped through those journey and you can reach your hand back and you can help them because you've been through it. It's a great place to start. It's not always perfectly there. If you're selling bread, of course, you're not going to go to somebody who used to make bread. That's a whole different thing. We're talking about more of the personal services here. If you have to start somewhere, and I highly recommend you start somewhere, start with yourself. What were your frustrations? What were you really annoyed about? What would you have paid somebody to help you shortcut a solution for? If only they had the answers. That's great advice. So, Anna, tell us a little bit just on the the styling side of things. Just give us, like, if you don't have to have a black dress in your wardrobe, what should you have in your wardrobe?
Well, unique things. It is different for everyone. It needs to reflect your inner essence so that it supports your energy.
Yeah,
I see with my clients often that they have many different styles in their closets.
yeah,
And if you're not sure, if you're not aware what different styles look like, you will gather what you like randomly. And there are
yeah.
some things that you will get right, and there are going to be some mistakes.
And what's a, and I know you can't, I know it's a big generalization, so I get that. But what is, like, some of the most common mistakes that you see?
The most common mistakes are when women want to appear, for example, more feminine. There are
Yes.
some women who have more masculine features, and they would like to appear more soft, gentle, and kind. And what they do is they dress in flowers that are soft, gentle, and kind. But what
Yeah.
that creates is even a greater contrast to what they are. And it
Right.
makes them even more masculine, their
Yeah.
appearance.
As you say it, I'm kind of going, yeah, it would, because if their features are quite masculine, it'd make them stand out more. Yeah. Wow.
Yes, so you need to put similar things with similar things. If you put a square next to a flower, what would look more masculine? A square.
Square. Yeah. So what would you do in that case? Just for that example, if you were quite masculine, how would you bring your feminine out without putting flowers on all over you?
Let's say you have a face of a rounded square. Our face is can one of the facial shapes is square, but nobody looks like a robot, so our facial shape is a rounded square, right?
Yeah.
What you do is you put geometrical things around it. For example, would you guess that my facial shape is square?
No, I would have said it was a bit rounder, actually.
Exactly. Why? Because I'm wearing a very, very angular color.
Right. So a clean shape versus
Uh,
the soft and flouncy. Yeah.
yes. So this creates the balance. And whenever we compare things, one is more round than the other, and they affect each other.
Hmm. That's really good advice because as you say it, I'm going, okay. Because I've got a rounded top on, a rounded neck top, but I've got quite a square face. And I'm kind of going, oh, should I have changed it? You're making me so self conscious now, Anna.
No, 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 that was not my intention.
I know.
Because it is really difficult to determine the facial shape.
Yeah.
People stop me and say, okay, tell me what's my facial shape. That is one of the hardest things to
Yeah.
do. And it takes measurements and really accurate assessments to figure it out. I have like 5 systems I compare and um, affirm that my conclusions are correct.
Right. Yeah. So you would be used to looking at the faces and have an educated guess, but you double check and make sure that it's not just you assuming. It's very fascinating. As you could tell, I could talk to you about it for ages, but maybe we'll do another interview at another stage. So I love those five tips that you gave us about that standing out. So it's your visual appearance. If you have something that's a bit funky or different or whatever, enhance it rather than trying to hide it. Make sure that you are coming out with your own voice. And it's not just if it's an accent or not. Of course, if it's an accent, it'll stand out. But your own voice, as in even how you talk. You know, some people have certain mannerisms and things like that. Find and uncover. And look, guys, this sort of thing does not happen overnight, as I'm sure Anna would agree. But find your own unique methodology. You know, at one stage, I had a methodology called the Becca Principle. And it was something I made up, and people are going, "What is that?" So it was really a unique methodology. Find your unique perspective and bust a myth with it. Bust a myth that other people assume X, Y, or Z, like your little black dress, and you come at it from that different perspective and see if that interrupts them enough to look at you and see how you can help them. And again, to find your unique niche, which I think is very important. But again, please know, guys, I'm sure Anna would agree as well. That doesn't happen overnight either. There's a bit of trial and error in that as well to be able to change, you know, what you do, what you haven't done. So, Anna, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, what is I'm going to pop up on the screen your Facebook page. Is that one of the best ways to contact you?
Yeah, it is one of them. This is my personal profile, my Facebook personal profile.
Beautiful. And a
They can,
second way then would be the email, maybe. I'll pop that up as well.
yes, it's info@chooseyoursigunaturestyle.com.
Awesome. I love that. Choose your signature style because in your experience, if people have a signature style, a kind of a generalist style, it's easier then to mix and match all the clothes too, rather than having 10,000 pieces in your wardrobe. Once you have got aware of your style, it's easier to mix and match them. Would I be correct in that assumption?
Yes, you get rid of that famous sentence, I have nothing to wear.
Yes, I say it often. Yeah, awesome. So, look, again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I think we could talk about this for ages because I want to dig down and see, but I am aware of the time. So, if you had any last things to share with anyone that's watching this about your own style and really using it to stand out in that crowded market, what would be those last things that you would share?
Share your story. That is the most unique thing about you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And share it. If I could add a little bit to that, if you're sharing your story, guys, go and have a look at the hero's journey and at least the steps of the hero's journey and kind of put it against every movie you've ever seen, every anything, and you will start to see the steps. Because when you tell your story, we don't tell the story just for the sake of telling the story because that's just whinging. You tell your story to move your audience in a way that it brings them along with you on that journey, because then it will move them to either work with you or move away from you, because we want the right people to move away from us too. So story is really, really important. Anna, thank you so, so much for hanging out with us today. It's been a pleasure to have you. And if anyone is watching this, apologies, after the fact, or whether you're watching it live, please, any questions you have for Anna, put them in the comments, tag myself or tag Anna, and we will answer them as quickly as we can. Even if it is in YouTube, no matter where it is that you're seeing this, put your questions below, and I'll make sure if Anna doesn't see them, that she will see them. And if I can't answer them, Anna certainly will. Anna, it's been awesome to have you once again. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out with me today.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure.
Okay, guys, it's bye for me.